So today I'm going to put a DCC decoder in SW9 or SW1200 Proto 2000 locomotive. So this is a locomotive I don't actually even remember picking up. But it doesn't surprise me too much that I would buy this model. I've always had a fondness for switchers. Back when I was really young, we lived very close to the rail yard, and my dad would actually take me to go and watch trains. And I have very fond memories of seeing the switchers in the yard. This one isn't quite prototypical. I'm pretty sure there actually weren't any of this style in this paint scheme for CN. But you know what? It'll suit my needs just fine, and it's quite a nice little locomotive, so I'm looking forward to having it on my layout. But since I'm using DCC, it is going to need to be updated with a new controller so I can run it with my DCC system. So let's get it unboxed and take a stab at it. So these older Proto 2000 locomotives might not hold too much of a candle to the modern ready-to-run equipment, but especially for their time, they're pretty good. They're pretty highly detailed. You can see they had directional lighting controls. It's just a diode network to make that work, but once again, when a lot of things didn't even have that, it made it pretty advanced. So it has a number of detailed parts, including sunshades and these window bays that can go on it. So it's got some nice detail for its age. We can get it out here nicely and gently. Really got to kind of push it from the back. So you can see here the shell, I've got actually really fine plastic grab irons, which are somewhat flexible. Do have a little bit of warping going on here with this one, but yeah. They also have actually see-through, get it in the shot here. Let's see if I can get it to focus. But they have see-through grates, tread plates, on both the front and the back, which is a nice little detail too that's normally not seen except on more expensive models. It's actually got a fully detailed cab too, which is nice, including two figures. One of the downsides is that it has an incandescent bulb in the rear light here, which at least I don't know how to get it apart without completely destroying it. I've had a look at it in the past. There doesn't seem to be an easy way to get in there. So that's going to have to stay there for now. So having a look at the decoder here, this is the SW9 SR decoder from NCE. It's pretty nice because it's essentially a drop-in replacement for the factory board. There is some soldering that we're going to have to do here in just a minute. Yeah, it's fairly affordable and has a fair number of features for what it does. So it's got pads for the front and rear truck power pickup, which is pretty self-explanatory. And then it's got contacts as well for the rear lights that are powered through the shell. But it also has some contacts for the front headlight, and there's a couple of options when it comes to that. So you can actually wire up a 12-volt light, like there's an incandescent light in there now, or you can connect an LED. So I have an LED here. That's one of the first things we're going to do is have a look at that and make sure that we can get that to work properly and see what we need to do to make it fit. And then we can get at some soldering and desoldering, or desoldering first, then soldering, I guess, and get this board in. So here in the instructions, it says to use the LED for the headlight, use the long lead anode to the top of the decoder and the short lead cathode to the bottom. So, judging by the orientation, the one with all the circuits is the top, which would kind of make sense. So the long lead goes to the top, short lead's going to go to the bottom, so we're definitely going to need to trim it. So the flat edge is basically going to go to the bottom. So let's have a look, see at how this is going to fit here. If we unglue the incandescent, the board's going to sit about there. Actually, it's going to be pretty close. We're going to want, yeah, essentially that whole thing in there. All right, we'll give that a shot then. That is part of the same pad there, so that shouldn't be an issue. That crosses there a little bit. Yeah, let's see if we can make that work. My solder here, and we're just going to tin this pad on the bottom. Going to give the LED leads here a quick tinning too. Make this all go smooth. Now for this part, I am going to get out my helping hands here. Let's find a corner of the board I can clip onto without marring anything. Now, just to double check, it says a long lead to the top. All right. There we go. That's much better. It does look like there'll be just enough with the full lead to make contact to the bottom pad as well. So now having a look where that'll sit, that should be just behind the front headlight. Perfect. All right, so just wiggle the board up here. We're going to try to remove and then resolder onto the new one, kind of one at a time here, so we don't lose where anything's supposed to go. We're going to start with the left side motor wires. Actually, correction, that's the left side pickups, power pickups. Softened up the insulator a little bit more than I was hoping, but that's always a potential problem with these really fine wires. Okay, yeah, I was confusing myself with the directions, but it looks like, yeah, they are actually correct. So left side, which is this. So we should make this a little bit more manageable and get rid of that old melty end there. Nice big pads on these. Front one's a little shorter, but we're going to trim just a little bit here. Okay, there we go. First soldering done and out of the way. Well, first wires anyway. Now, let's see where these right side pickups go. Looks like they both go to the back here. Last and delicate approach, but it does work. Okay, at this point, actually, I think I'm going to break with my initial plan and do the motor. So on this, make it even easier on myself and orient it with the diagram. The top motor wire, which is the red one, goes to the right. And as the instructions say, we're going to put it up through the hole. This one's going to be a little bit more interesting to do. good connection. Now that's completely free. We can set that aside and we will save it. Not the world's greatest solder joint, but that should do. Last but not least, we'll get these last motor connectors here. Nice big glob. I think we're going to have to trim that a little bit too. Okay. So now I can actually probably just put this board in place. One light little touch there, and we are all in. Now, that LED lead is definitely, absolutely touching that weight. I don't know if that's actually an issue or not, so we don't blow up a decoder here. I am actually going to grab my multimeter and do a couple of quick tests. Does look like that weight's insulated from everything else, which is good. Not from that, though. Well, it shouldn't be an issue. I am actually going to take just a dab. Uh-oh, that's kind of dried out. No, my liquid electrical tape. Darn it. Plan B, green painter's tape. Probably not going to be my permanent solution, but let me test this anyway. Alright. There we go. Now we're going to take it up to the layout and see if we can get her to work. Okay, so DCC system on. Grab my rather dusty controller here. If you don't already know, most DCC controllers out of the box are set to 3. So on this one we can do loco 3 and enter. Now with any luck, and we have direction, and we have the headlight working. Very good. Ooh. That got a little exciting. Let's see. We can turn the headlight off. First direction. Watch the speed this time. Yeah, looking like it's going to be a nice smooth runner. As far as I know, when I got it, it was brand new, so it's never really even been broken in properly. So it's going to need a little bit of work. Let's see if we can get the shell on. The trick, as is often the case, seems to be trying to find some place to tuck the wires. Don't want to make them too short because you do want it to be serviceable. Yeah, get them tucked in the shell, someplace they're not going to get caught on the drive mechanism. There we go. Just like that, I think we have a working locomotive. The headlights on. Set the direction to forward. I think that looks pretty good. Makes the camera go a little out of focus. What happens if we turn the light back on? It's not too bad at all. Let's go forward. So it does look like with either the decoder or some of the wiring, there is a small issue that the shell isn't quite sitting tight enough down to light up the back number board. So I might have to actually do some more wiring here. So I can actually use my throttle, and we're going to use the mainline programming here. We're going to select main. Enter. Go locomotive 3, and we're going to change the address to the cab number. And we can leave all the rest of the CVs there for now. Now, if we select 1390, there we go. Now it's programmed with the correct number. Well, there we have it. There's my CN SW9. It's pretty much all done. Got all the lights working and everything now. I might, in some point in the future, actually paint the figures inside the cab. Right now they're just all black. Also add an antenna and the sun screens, but I'll save that for another day. For now, I'm pretty happy with it. It's a smooth runner. It operates pretty nicely. I did actually have a look up too. There were several similar ones to this that CN had. Still don't think any in this exact paint scheme and not in that number, but looks like CN did have some SW9s after all. Another thing I might do is actually get the dual port spark arresters that some of the ones that were of this type did have, kind of finish off the model, and I think it'll be a good addition. Alright, well, thanks for watching another of my model railroad videos, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button. Also, you can follow me on Instagram as well as Twitter. And until next time, keep tinkering.